1 minute, I'll let you know when we are live. One minute, I'll let you know when we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is one event from the Latam series with partnerships with Endeavor, the Victoria State Government, and Holon IQ and the IDB partners that have helped us put several series together. We've started with Israel, we moved to Africa, and this is the third and last one of this particular 2020 year. So welcome everyone. I want to thank you. We have a very interesting set of presentations from the top Australian companies from Victoria. And I want to open up with giving the voice to Pablo, who heads the Victoria State Government and who has helped us put this lineup together. Pablo, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Fernando, and thank you everyone for joining us today. And thank you to the partners at Latam Alliance, Endeavor, Holon IQ, IDB, and all the participants as well. Maybe if you allow me with the slides, just a very brief intro to put Australia and Victoria on the map to begin with. Juanita. The next one, please. The next one. All right, thanks. So Australia, Victoria is the little corner down there. It's a very exciting state and part of the Trade Investment Office for the state in Latin America. Australia it's a big economy, as you probably know, the 12th largest economy in the world. Just to put that in context, and it's probably a resilient one, which has gone through 28 years of economic growth until the very recent pandemic, of course. Very innovative, meritocratic, and education-driven society. Next slide, please. And Victoria in particular has a very strong capability, as you will probably see in the next few minutes, which stems from a key combination of very strong education and research capability. The fact that Melbourne is what we consider the tech capital of Australia, with strong tech talent and capability as well, and a big network of government offices that support the sector across the world. Next slide, please. The next one, Juanita. So, as I said, Victorian government has a big network of offices around the world. We tend to partner with key stakeholders in the region with the aim of supporting collaboration with our companies and local partners on the ground. And we're very excited about this, the opportunity of showing what Victoria has to offer and to putting this as a first instance where we are open to continue discussions down the line. So thank you, Fernando, just a very brief intro, and handing over back to you to see the terrific capability of our companies. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pablo, and thank you for all your support. We're getting ready to start then the first block. So the format is going to be quick pitches from three of the startups in K-12, and then feedback from selected leaders in the region. So we're going to start with Mindsets. Welcome, Risha.
Thank you, Fernando, and hello, everyone. And thank you to all the organizers for giving us this opportunity to present ourselves. I'm Richa Jain from Mindsets Learning, sitting in Melbourne today. Welcome to our unique inquiry-based learning platform. Fernando, you can go to the main slide. Thank you. So we are an inquiry-based learning platform. See, one of the questions that kids ask is, why am I learning this? When am I ever going to use this? And this lack of engagement from students is one of the key reasons for declining performance in maths and science. And we at Mindsets are trying to solve this challenge in our unique way. Slide change, Fernando, thanks. We are one of the world's leading, and I think probably the only collaborative learning platform which uses real world challenges in a project-based setup to teach STEAM skills. Technology is a boon. Look, I'm sitting in Australia and presenting quite easily to all of you in Latin America, but it also has side effects. Particularly, our kids are more interested in what's happening on their screen, and in a way they're isolated when they're learning digitally. So we at Mindsets, we take pride in the fact that we are using a very unique collaborative model for learning. Kids work in group to engage with the content, reflect, and respond to the problems presented as challenges, which are really based on real life examples. We are very fortunate that we are working with students and teachers from across 81 countries, and we are present in all 50 states in the USA. We have over 2 million students who are approved to use Mindsets. And for our very unique instructional technology, we recently won the very prestigious 2020 Cody Award. We were also awarded NASDAQ Award in the Edtech category. Both awards were in the USA, and that is also the home country for our parent organization. Now, Mindset Challenge. Next slide, please, Fernando. Thanks. So if you see, our challenges are super fun and relatable, such as how do I design a basketball field using Pythagoras theorem? Or how do I plan a party when there is a budget? And how do I track expenses using number system and decimal point calculations? Now, we also map all of these challenges to curriculum, to the US curriculum, as well as international curriculums, including IB. This alignment is really to provide guidance to teachers to add that as part of their regular yearly calendars. We also link these challenges to career-specific themes so that they're more relatable for the students who are going through it. Next slide, please. Thanks. So some of the key highlights of our platform. We are global first. Our content has universal applicability. We are continually working with our partners, schools, and teachers to refine our challenges to make them relevant for various groups and various contexts in which they're used. At the same time, we align our challenges, as I said, to curriculum to help to whatever local curriculum framework that the school is using to help teachers. Thanks to our partnership with Microsoft's Open Reader, we are accessible in 70+ languages. There are a lot of other accessibility features in Mindset to make it more accessible for multiple groups. Mindsets can be used creatively in face-to-face format, remote format, and also a blended model. As I said, our technology or our platform is set up in a way that it allows for collaboration between peers. We have partnerships with Microsoft, Google, and AWS. We have also partnered they have provided technical integrations. We have also partnered with Microsoft in India to work with one of their showcase schools. Next slide, please. So of course, we are tracking what impact Mindset has created so far. And based, as you can see here, based on one of the externally commissioned evaluation, we have seen massive improvement in the learning outcomes in the schools where Mindsets has been used. In particular, we saw a significant increase in mathematical reasoning skills. There was almost a 24 times increase in the outcomes in a cohort of 500 students that we observed in a low SES district in USA. And we have continued to monitor our impact, and these results have continued to show themselves despite the concern of learning loss in the COVID times. So next slide, please. So that's basically about Mindsets. It's needless to say that we would love to work with partners and schools in Latin America and bring our unique offering to help students build their 21st century skills. We would actually welcome opportunities to partner with your schools and conduct impact studies using Mindsets. We look forward to working with you. So if you have anything that you would want to ask of me, please reach out to me at my email, which is richa@mindsets.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Risha. We are going to continue on with my friend Barry from Education Horizons. Barry, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Fernando. Much appreciated. So my name is Barry Anns. I'm the Chief International Officer, Education Horizons Group. Can I have the next slide, please, Fernando? And again, please. So the Education Horizons Group was created in 2016, and we're a collaboration of very successful, high-performing edtech companies focused on K-12 schools. Can I have the next slide, please, Fernando? And again. So we work with 2,000 schools across the globe. We've got strong market presence in the UK and Australia, but we also work with international schools all over the world, and we're fortunate enough to have market presence in EMEA, Africa and the Americas as well. We're working in over 60 countries with over 2 million school users every day already. Can I have the next slide, please, Fernando? And again. So I want to introduce Engage, which is one of the EHG products, and it's our international school management solution. Engage is a uniquely integrated system working across the school and provides a single source of truth for schools in one powerful database with many features. If we could just go on to the next slide, please, Fernando. Here's some of the people that we work with already around the world. Some of these names you may recognise. In particular, I just want to point out the International Schools Partnership. Engage is the management information system, school management system of choice for the International Schools Partnership. And they're one of the companies that we work with that have presence already in Latam, with schools in Mexico, Costa Rica, Ecuador, Colombia, Peru, Chile, and also in the US. But some of those names I'm sure you'll recognise. Come the next slide again, please, Fernando. And I think if you keep going, it will build a slide there for us. Thank you. So this just demonstrates some of the different aspects in terms of teaching, finance, and in-school administration that we serve within the school with Engage. And again, if we go on, Fernando, please. And just point out here some of the features really of Engage within a school. It really is a solution that can address many school needs: academic performance, financial performance. It also supports the whole of student and staff wellbeing, and you can really streamline all of your different systems within one product. And I think one of the major aspects of Engage as well is because of all of those things, we can foster school-wide communication very strongly, so that we're communicating with parents and we're putting the information in the right hands at the right time. Again, can you go on, please, Fernando? And again, I think. Fantastic. And again. Okay, so I'm just going to hand over to my colleague, Kieran Miller, who's the Solutions Director at Engage.
So we picked out 7 things that we thought would be the most interesting to highlight to you too. The first thing is school terminology. So not only can we present to your users in their local language with any character sets that are involved, we can do it in the school terminology, which means that Engage will be easier for your school to adopt. Next slide, please. We've got a full document management system, which can store documents both on contacts, parents and students, and deliver those to the people who need them in a secure way. Next, please. Because we're a global solution, we work with all sorts of curriculum, including local curricula, American curricula, and IB. And having that in one product should give huge flexibility to your schools. Next, please. And because different curriculum vary, actually, we can look at the change of people's performance from the start. So we don't silo information away. We can really show the value add that your educators are bringing. Next, please. Some specific workflow. We've got a form building and workflow system, which will convert those Google forms and bits of paper to a COVID secure workflow to inform people what they need to know about your school. Next, please. And I find that we've got bespoke reporting, which means that you can get the data out both in printed reports and dashboards. Next, please. And finance is built into the system with parents being able to see invoices, pay invoices. You can deliver budgets to the teachers, and we've got invoice stamping for countries that need it. Next, please. And we can deliver it where you need, so either hosted or on premise. So Engage, a school-wide solution on a globally recognized platform. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kieran. Brief. Thanks, Fernando.
Thank you so much. Alex, the floor is yours. And I just want to encourage anyone from the Latin America feedback team, if you have specific comments, feedback, questions, please use the chat. We can balance between the chat questions and the microphones. Alex, the floor is yours.
That's great. Thank you very much, Fernando. And thank you very much for the invite today, Pablo, Andrea. It's great to be part of this event and hear all the great companies speaking. It's also for me a fantastic way to connect to the Latam region. I actually had 2 years in Santiago, Chile over 20 years ago. I love the region and it's really nice to connect. So Education Perfect, our mission is humanizing technology for lifelong learners. We believe that the human element is really important when you're trying to implement technology within schools. It's really important to engage the teacher and school community to get the most out of the technology. If you move to the next slide. So just a few kind of highlights in terms of our growth. We're currently in over 95% of senior schools in New Zealand. Our product specifically works for year 7 to 12. We do have an offering as well for upper primary, 5 and 6, but our technology lends itself to a slightly older student, an older child. Next year we'll be in over 3,000 schools in Australia. Sorry, just go back one. So we're in over 3,000 schools in Australia. We just won a government contract as well, which is really exciting in Australia. And this year as well, globally, we've made some big jumps. So we're now in 58 countries around the world. That was a jump from 18. And we're already starting to engage with some of the schools in the regions. I've highlighted some of those that are currently engaging with our product. Next slide. So what we do, we are a toolkit in classroom. So we would be integrating with a school management system, learning management systems, the Googles, the Microsofts. But where we play is really in classroom, or this year due to COVID, in distant learning. So our technology is very much there as a toolkit for teachers. Next slide. So I thought I'd sort of talk to some of the areas just for you to get a picture of who we are and what we're about. It's very difficult just in slides, but hopefully this will paint a bit of a picture. Starting at the top left, in our technology, we have essentially the ability for teachers to create lessons for themselves or lean on and use resources that we've created ourselves. And we have over 35,000 resources that fit across all subjects, core subject areas. We then have assessment capability, so the ability for teachers to run tasks, run assessments, get data on students' progress, student engagement. We then have the ability to differentiate your class, so based on how people have gone from that pre to post assessment, be able to instruct them in certain ways. 70% of the students that use our platform also use it as independent learning, so they kind of go on their own pathways and their own explorations, and the business is built on the product is built on the mastery model, so you can only kind of move to the next task once you've learned something. So we've had all sorts of interesting engagement tools as well around competitions, and different things as well to keep students really interested and engaged. If you go to the next slide. So just quickly, here's a little screenshot of some of the authoring tools. We introduced the EP Studio this year. That during COVID, we've seen a real big jump in usage in this area. I guess there's a lot of teachers have been scrambling that have slides in PowerPoint slides or Google Slides, and then trying to put some interactivity in the lesson because they're working from distant learning. Next slide. As I said, we have 35,000 resources. So we typically compete against single subject suppliers. So businesses that might be offering English, science, maths. Where we see an opportunity for Education Perfect is actually on the consolidation of resources, and then be able to compare how students are progressing subject to subject. Next slide. We're able to get then individual insights into how students are going when they go through a lesson and task. So that's what we call smart lesson technology that's underpinning all of the resources that we have. Next slide. We also have what we call a live feed feature, which has been used a lot this year, where you can kind of see how students are going. We've also got some features and functionality that allow us to run remote assessments, which is something that even our friends at Google have struggled with. So you're able to sort of tell if someone's actually gone off screen or opened up multiple tabs. So all of that features and functionality has been super useful this year, particularly. Next slide. We have lots of insights. We've got a goldmine of data, actionable data around looking at students' engagement and students' progress. And next slide. And in terms of the value and the benefits, we believe that there's lots of values from a school group level, particularly from the data analytics that we're getting from a school leaders and teachers perspective. We're saving teachers time. We're allowing teachers more time to spend with individuals. Students are getting value from the platform, particularly for their own learning pathways and being able to go on their own independent learning pathways outside of the classroom. And the parents are probably the new user this year for us. Parents have probably been the most engaged they've ever been because of COVID. And we're looking to sort of close that loop really between teachers using the platform, students, and then parents, and providing them data around how their students progressing, but also help them to perhaps go on independent pathways with their own child through our EP for Home product. Next slide. Thank you. If you wish to get in contact, my details are there at the bottom. And thanks very much again for the opportunity, Fernando, Pablo, and Andrea for speaking.
Thank you, Alex. And we get to our first segment. Again, I want to encourage everyone and anyone from the Latin America feedback team, beyond the ones that are taking the microphone, to please use the chat for any feedback, pros, cons. If you look at these companies entering the Latin America market, what would work, what they need to be careful of, what recommendations you can provide. So I'm gonna then open up the floor in this order: Ariel, then Noel, and then Monica. If you introduce yourself, where you're coming from, and then you provide about 1-2 minute feedback for these companies. Ariel, please go first.
Hello, I am Ariel Gringos. I am the CEO and co-founder of Collegium. We're a company that we develop software for managing schools, and we have offices in, I think, almost all the countries in Latin America. I'm also Endeavor board member in Chile. Thank you, Fernando, for this meeting. Very interesting. I think you have a very good products, but I think that you must decide if you want to be like a boutique, to go to a couple of international schools that we have in each country in Latin America, or if you want to go to a wider market. If you want to go to all the markets, you must translate the software and for example for mindsets. It's incredible, the software, but maybe you must work with a national curriculum in each country to sell to the governments or to the schools, because here every school needs to be aligned to the Ministry of Education, and it's a problem but you must decide if you want to go to international schools. It's not a problem. If you want to go to all schools, you must do that. I think that for education perfect, I think that there is more market in Latin America. You can go very fast. And for Horizon Groups, I think that maybe we can arrange a new meeting to see, we do something like similar, but I think that there is market for you, but you must decide exactly in which country and which kind of school do you want to serve. And after that, we can arrange a meeting and we can work in that.
Thank you, Ariel. Noel Traynor, please.
Hi, everybody. I'm Noel Trainer, the CEO for Notion. Notion is an ecosystem. We take care, as we say here in America, of the whole enchilada in private and public schools. We have presence in Mexico, Colombia, El Salvador, and Guatemala. Congratulations on your companies. I was really, really impressed. And seeing the huge numbers that you have, it's really, really amazing. Mexico and Latam, it's a whole different world for what probably you are used to. You have to consider that we've been extremely hard. We've been hit very strongly with the COVID, and economics are playing a very, very important role right now. So you should take care of your numbers. Private schools and public schools right now are going through difficult times. So you should be careful there. And also remember that in Mexico and Latam, 90% of the schools are public and only 10% are private. And in that 10% private schools, you have a whole bunch of different IB schools, international schools, local schools. So that's important for you guys to consider. And as Ariel mentioned, you have to also align to the country, to the Secretary of Education, and if it's country, you have to align your content. That's something very, very important that you have to do. Also, there's a lot of competition right now with the COVID. There's a lot of new edtech companies coming around from all over the world. So the market is getting very aggressive. But I think there is a big a window of opportunity that it just opened for companies like ours. So if you need any help, anything I can help, I'll be happy to. We're excited to. We completely understand that we know that the only way of changing the world is through education. So anything we can help you guys with, I'll be happy to work with you.
Thank you so much, Noel. We have here Monica Garcia, who is the academic head of the Semper Altius network of schools. And Monica has provided some feedback over the chat, which I'm going to translate. And basically for Mindset, interesting proposal. They are working in the skills of collaborative skills, and they can work with you. They believe that Maslow before Bloom, and basically they need to work together in understanding that the Maslow and Bloom integration in the classroom is a key element of their discussions. Secondly, on Horizons, they are interested in this technological ecosystem. Is not one platform, the way they see it is several platforms in one single user experience, which is, the need is to integrate even the libraries, open libraries. So that is the specific feedback. And then Monica, I don't know if you just want to say hello here, and we'll continue with the conversation.
Thank you, Fernando. Hello, it's very interesting. Todas las presentaciones, y lo único que te pediría, si puedes traducir, Alex, Fer, es que nosotros lo que estamos buscando es cómo integrar calidad y acompañamiento tanto de alumnos y de docentes integrando el sistema educativo nacional. Creo que eso es lo que, cómo lograr no nada más atender puras habilidades blandas, que creo que es hacia donde se está yendo la tendencia, sino cómo lograr una verdadera calidad, un verdadero acompañamiento tanto de alumnos y de docentes.
Gracias, Mónica. So thank you. So the key element that she's looking for is the quality of student experience and teacher experience in an integrated quality journey that they are looking for. And just as an introduction, the Semper Altius network of schools is one of the largest in Mexico. They also have operations in Chile, and they manage, the last I checked, and I forget the number exactly, Monica, 83 schools, is that correct? Or
in Mexico and in El Salvador, yes.
And in Chile?
In Chile, we have eight schools, and we have in Argentina in Brazil, in Colombia, in Venezuela,
Spain.
Spain too, in USA, Italy, yes, and Vietnam, one in Vietnam. Oh, I think it's
Philippines. One in Philippines, no?
Philippines, yes, one in Philippines.
It's amazing, Ariel, as you're showing, Ariel knows the market very, very well.
No, so, because they use our software.
Thank you so much. We're going to move on then to the second segment, and we're going to start with our friends Yanni from Genix Ventures. Are you there, Yanni?
Yes, I am, Fernando. Can you hear me well?
Perfect.
Excellent. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, and hello, everybody. I am Gianni Panozzo from Genix Ventures. I'm very excited to be here today. Next slide, please, Fernando. So Genix, who are we? Genix specializes in delivering digital transformation solutions for our customers. Typically, it's quite high stakes, complex solutions integrations that we've delivered for government, financial services, education, healthcare, etc., across things like anti-money laundering, case management, and the digital assessments. Melbourne-based, outside of Australia, we've actually got operations in India, Singapore, and the UK. And our solutions pretty much touch every corner of the globe. We've got a digital assessment solution for Cambridge International that was delivered to 52 countries across the world here directly from Melbourne. The key to the Genix products is it's all supported by our intelligent business process management platform. Effectively, that gives us the feature richness to automate many of the activities that you'll find in a organization's operations. And it scales massively, extremely robust, and we have the ability to do millions of transactions per day. So education came to Genix purely by accident. We won an opportunity in 2012 for a local medical education body here who do high stakes medical assessments. And we're able to bespoke create a solution for them, which does complete end-to-end assessments from the registration of the candidate to the creation of the items in the item bank to the delivery in both paper-based and online digital to automation of marking and results generation. And feedback from the customer and our assessment made us invest quite heavily into this product that's now been relaunched called Examiner Plus. As a company, we spend about $3 million a year just on R&D, where now especially is a real focus on, like many other tech companies, around artificial intelligence and machine learning. Next, thank you, Fernando. Okay, so Examiner Plus, as I mentioned, it is an end-to-end digital assessments platform that does a full life cycle. We have the ability for the candidates to register enrollments. In addition to that, we have a Genix proprietary optimization engine. So we can do real large-scale optimization of resources. So that's your students, your examinations, organizing your rooms and venues, etc., markers, etc., which has been quite a boon for our customers during this challenging year in 2020, where everything just got turned around and they had to make some quick adjustments. They were able to do it in a matter of days as opposed to months, and meant them saving much greatly revenue that wasn't lost, so they could still proceed with these assessments. The item bank that we have is the real jewel of the crown. It is huge. In fact, it can do tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of items, but also provide the ability for each item to be tagged with some form of metadata to be used for whatever purpose. And a lot of that is really to understand the benefits of the assessment, how the student has performed, the curriculum as a whole, and provide great insights into the education body. As I mentioned, the assessments can be done online or paper-based through the same experience for the admin. Also, there's no change. So there's been a real focus on a user interface and user experience that we've done for this product. If you can just tab once, please, Fernando. Okay, so what are the benefits of Examiner Plus? Because it's built on this IBPM engine and its workflow and the automation of activities, we are able to save our customers significant amounts of money through operational efficiencies and increasing productivity. Due to the item-backed nature and ability to tag with metadata, our customers are able to get greater insights into the student outcomes and also into the curriculums themselves. Because we focus on high stakes solutions, privacy, security, integrity is a core component of anything we do. We've integrated with face recognition tools and other AI tools to prevent fraud and to improve the integrity of examinations. And because it is just a simple flick switch, we have a seamless process to move from both paper-based to digital-based examinations. Thank you, Fernando.
Thank you so much, Yanni. And then
I just have one more slide. So the value prop with us, as I mentioned, we're a software company. The benefits derive from the Examiner Plus platform, but we just do more than software. We collaborate with both industry and we are working close on generating our next generation assessments capability. We work very closely with Professor Hamish Coates, who's been around for 20 years, just focusing on next generation assessments. And together we're able to work with 6 universities, business schools in China for a pilot program just on that, which proved to be quite significant and successful. We are very successful in India, and the reason why is not just the platform itself. We're able to reach a price point that is to satisfy the Indian market. Also, we partner very closely with local Indian organizations to make this happen. And we feel that the same challenges we have read and know about Latin America are experienced in India, which is why we think we're a great opportunity to provide great benefit for higher education organizations there in Latin America. So I thank everyone for the opportunity to speak. If you need to reach out to me, please do so through Fernando and the team. And yeah, great to be part of this.
Thank you again, Gianni. Andrew from Didasco. Hello, Andrew.
Buenas tardes to our good friends in Latin America, and thank you very much for joining us today, and buenos dias to those of you in Australia. Fernando, Pablo, Andrea, thank you very much for coordinating this. It's fabulous to see so many Victorian businesses and what they're doing. I might just get you to, thank you, and I'll get you to go to the next one. 4 years ago, Didasco was presented with an interesting opportunity from a well-known Australian university, how to deal with students that don't fit within the regular framework of the university. And these could be students that, because of distance, obviously Australia is a very big country, can't access a university, or because of very busy lifestyles, have had difficulty trying to fit in with the structure of a university. There are students higher ed students that can go to university, and they do, and that's perfect. But there are higher ed students, and this is not just an Australian issue, this is a global issue, that could go to university, but their current life commitments don't allow them to do that. We quickly started working with the university and looked at what was happening in the distant education or online education space, and very quickly realized that the 100 pieces of the jigsaw that they were all trying to thread together was struggling within the infrastructure of the university. So we set out on a journey which completely transformed the direction of our business, and we set out to build an alternate university operating system outside of the university. And a couple of key points that I want to make: universities around the globe have been talking about this concept of University 4.0 for a very long time. And as some of our previous presenters have mentioned, this will see the introduction of artificial intelligence, augmented reality, machine learning. But there's one fundamental piece that is required to be able to do this, and that is that the entire operating structure of a university must be running live data. So we set out to build alongside a university a completely alternate operating environment, operating system, that runs live data. So Didasco has been around for 23 years. We're more than 200,000 unique student users. We're Melbourne-based, we're privately owned. We have a long history in developing digital content. We've won multiple awards nationally and internationally. And of course, as I've just outlined, we have now fully developed a live higher education ecosystem. Thanks, Fernando.
Thank you so much. And then my friend Grainy from Twitch.
Oops.
Thank you so much, Fernando, and everybody for the opportunity to speak with you today. We're thrilled to be here. So I will get started. So Twitch is a content neutral, gamified mobile learning platform. So we're based in Melbourne, and really we wanted to reimagine the way education was delivered. I am a professor at Swinburne University in Melbourne, and essentially came across a serious problem and wanted to solve that for my students. Next slide, please. So what we do is we make learning engaging and fun, because this is what we were told students wanted. We are indeed sector agnostic. So we started off in the university sector, but since then we have moved into high schools and also into professional associations and the corporate sector. We deliver borderless digital innovation, and we provide what we believe to be superior learning analytics based on what educators need it. Next slide, please. So the problem as educators we faced was that lack of learner engagement. And we know in universities across the world that approximately 25% of students drop out in the first 4 weeks. As educator, we have low visibility on learner performance in real time. We only get that at the end, when really it's like a post-mortem and too late to do anything about it when we look at exam results. So we also wanted to look at what is the content performance in real time, as well as that learner performance. So this was done with a lot of educators across a number of universities in Australia to identify exactly what their challenges were. We also wanted the student voice in our solution, and students wanted easily accessible interactive tools. They wanted to get immediate feedback so they knew where to focus, so they could empower themselves to get better outcomes. And they also wanted a personalized learning journey. Next slide, please. So the solution we built was co-designed with students, and I think has been a lot of the success of Twitch. Essentially, our main focus was improving performance for students, so improving those learning outcomes. And we have evidence-based research that show that Twitch has a significant impact on student outcomes. So essentially, we wanted to build a tool that would engage the students, report back to them, provide interesting content, and educate them. And we do this in an engaging, a positive, and empowering, fun way. Next slide, please. So the value proposition that we provide at Twitch is we are super easy to use, totally scalable, accessible, proactive, and secure. So what the educators experience is real-time data. So I now can identify who are the students who are at risk, who are the students who are not participating, and the idea is that I can reach out to them in real time, so as early as possible in the semester, so I can support them and help them to perform better. It is very, very easy to set up Twitch and to use it, and again, we can disseminate content into bite-sized chunks. What the learners experience and what they asked for as a solution was fun, engaging, and a motivating way to learn. The ability to learn anytime, anywhere. They said they have their mobile phone, as we know, with them always. So this was going to be the best way for them to learn. And they wanted to get that personalized analytics so they could in real time identify what their areas of difficulty are and so on, and action those. So in Twitch, we have a traffic light system identifying for them what their areas of difficulty are. In red, what are their areas that they're kind of blitzing, if you like, in green, and so on. Next slide. So to give you an idea of some of the feedback that we've been receiving from our users, so we have Dr. Maddy at the University of Melbourne who uses Twitch with his engineering students. And again, he had that same issue as we as academics across the world have. How do we engage students so that we can perform better? So he started to use Twitch right at the beginning of semester, identify what the areas of difficulty were for his students, and engage them much more effectively. So Twitch is used outside of the classroom, where the educator will push content after a particular class or a lecture. Then we have Erica, who teaches law at a high school in Melbourne, and she introduced Quitch at the time of COVID-19 when she wanted to be able to engage with her students remotely and again identify any of those that were at risk or any of that content she was concerned that her cohort were not understanding. We also then have some feedback from CPA Australia, one of the world's largest member organisations, which introduced Quitch to help their postgraduate students at this point trying to get to full membership faster. So essentially, what the students revealed was that 78% of them said that the app helped them better understand the content of their subjects. So they had an incredibly successful outcome from using Quitch. And the next slide. Thank you. For Latam, so what we wanted to focus on with you, we would love the opportunity to work with you. Quitch is now delivered in Spanish and in Portuguese. So all of the commands are in both languages. We obviously expect you would add your content in Spanish and Portuguese. And the other thing, as I mentioned, that Quitch is so easy to set up. We could literally set up one of your classes today and tomorrow your students would have access to it because they simply download the app from the App Store. Next slide, please. So I would encourage you to explore our content marketplace, which we released a couple of weeks ago. So if you just want to hover your camera over the QR code and download and have a play with Quitch, we would love to see what you have to say about it and answer any questions, of course, that you have. Thank you so much, Fernando and everybody. I would love to hear from you and look forward to your feedback. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Grainy. We make the second stop now. I see the chat becoming active. Also encourage everyone for Latin America to provide comments and feedback. And the order for the higher education leaders to provide feedback is going to be Rafael Campos goes first, Santiago Castro second, and then Pepe Escamilla. If you can introduce yourselves, your organization, and provide feedback. Thank you, Rafa, the floor is yours.
First of all, thank you for the invitation, Fernando. My first feedback is we need to measure different higher education systems, even though that you think it's the same. We need to think about Brazil as a huge market, a different perspective, federation perspective, and the rest of the countries cannot different federations. It's because the educational departments in Brazil are different in each one of the regions. It's like a country. We in Latin America are so sensitive to pricing. First of all, the solutions presenting here open a great opportunity to go ahead in education, high education and higher education with quality and just providing a better cost. Here, all the new trends I saw in the solutions that you're presenting here, for example, engagement is connected to adaptive learning, is connected to personal development, is connected to academics, and is connected to professional to development. And at the very end, in higher education, the important thing is entrepreneurship and education to employment. My suggestion here for your products is to see the institution that you want to be linked, if it's in a federal level, a state level, the country, because even though we are a region, every part in the system, we have only few for-profit higher education. Other perspectives are from the particular institutions, not profit. For me, your solutions are with good trends in the development of higher education. They are exactly in the point of what will be the next step that is already growing in America Latina about personalization of the experience. You mentioned also the student journey, and I think more and more will be more about who is the final client, that is the student-centric student's perspective, and you can just grow it. Then I saw great solutions, great perspective, just in the shape, exactly in the target. But, and it's the big but, is you need to be aware that we are not homogeneous, one unique, standardized kind of systems. And I mentioned Brazil, Mexico, but I can mention more of that. And the other part is particular sector are different. The for-profit, that is huge in Brazil. And Mexico, we are not as huge as in their places. And the private sector is another different perspective. That's it, what I want to say. And thank you. You have great solutions, great technology. And the big chance that you will help us will be high quality and low cost.
Thank you, Rafa. Just if you want to take 20 seconds just to introduce the organization that you work in the university.
Aliat University is a private for-profit institution. We are located in 26 physical locations, but we span already to about 100 remote locations. We are going to the working class, medium class in Mexico. Our target is education to employment and entrepreneurship in this sector. And thank you for the invitation again.
Thank you, Rafa. Santiago.
Thank you, Fernando, and I'm very glad to be here. I'm Santiago Jose Castro. I'm the Chief Learning Officer at Lotus Education. Lotus Education currently has 2 universities in Mexico, nationwide, Universidad Tres Culturas and Universidad Latinoamericana. And we recently acquired a high school, Colegio Indoamericano, reaching 43,000 students. I'm going to comment on opportunities and possible challenges that you guys are going to face if you want to come to the Latin American higher education and K-12 education market. In the first place, and I was just remembering that 2017 book of Kathy Davidson, The New Education, and so many other works in the same direction. Opportunities. First, students that do not fit the traditional university model in Latin America are the majority of students. And I believe you guys are going to have a great chance if you manage to work with groups that cover those type of students that do not fit the traditional university model. I'm talking about millions of millions. In Mexico, the private sector covers around 33% of the total higher education market. There's for-profit education groups like our own, and there are other nonprofit education groups and of course public universities, but I'm sure your solutions may reach them. As a second point in opportunities, I believe 24-hour micro-learning has a chance if we manage to include it in traditional regulated academic programs, because the demand for these programs is still very, very high. People want an academic title. They are looking for it. They are willing to invest in a formal, official degree. So I believe that if you guys can manage to do that with strong partners in Latin America, it's going to be key. Challenges. I do believe that there's a huge risk in Latin America, in many universities and higher ed institutions, because many administrators prioritize stability of their platform over innovation and disruption, if you wish. And it is not uncommon that you're going to find them asking you, well, if I implement this solution, what's going to happen to my with today's students? How long is it going to take? Is the platform going to be stable or not? That's going to be a huge challenge. Then number 2, with challenges, the most important thing is that we all together can guarantee that students learn how to learn. And this is something that is a huge challenge. We usually have standardized tests that only measure content appropriation. And I believe that teaching students how to learn and promoting lifelong learning is going to be a huge challenge. And if you manage to do something like that in Latin America, you're going to have students with lifelong learning. And then scale, proved quality learning. And this is something that called my attention with Examina Plus. Proved quality learning. It's not just about the degree, it's actually learning how to learn. Make sure you reach programs of lifelong learning, and then you can prove that students develop the skills that the official program was offering. And I believe that if universities can reach that through these platforms that we have seen here today, then all these MOOCs and all these new opportunities for learning may have a huge challenge themselves. For universities are going to establish their own platforms for lifelong learning. So those are my comments for the Latin American market, Fernando.
Thank you so much. Pepe.
Thank you, Fernando. I introduce myself. I'm Jose Escamilla, actually known as Pepe. I go by Pepe Escamilla, so you can call me like that. I work at Tecnológico de Monterrey. I'm the Associate Director for the Institute for the Future of Education. We are specialized in the sector of higher education and lifelong learning. But our institutions also have high schools. So it's some anomaly of the Mexican system that you have to know that all universities have high schools in Mexico. So it's something interesting also of this market. Tecnológico de Monterrey is a highly regarded university in Latin America. We are top 5 in Latin America, top 150 around the world. And if we only take into account the private universities, we have top 30 private university in the world. We are private, non-for-profit. We have 90,000 students in 26 cities. And we also have another university that belongs to the same board of trustees that is called Tech Milenio. Tech Milenio is more like, I would say, a university that's looking to give purpose to the life of our students and also the opportunity for them to have a job, a good job. It's a middle-level university. It's more a teaching university. They don't do research in Tech Milenio. Tech Milenio has around 50,000 students and around 40 campus and in Mexico. So, well, I look at your pitches and I like very much your solutions. So I will say that maybe can be a little bit repetitive, but I think that you have to think into things in general for Latin America. One of them is the price point, because the cost of life here is not as much as in other places. And the other part is the resources that university, I'm talking about IT resources, both of universities and the students and faculty, that it will depend and change a lot depending on the level of the university and the income level of the students, and also on the places where they are located. And this will apply to the 3 different solutions. In particular for Examen A+, we have tried to use some kind of a proctoring solution or exam solution in Tec de Monterrey. And most of the time we have decided not to use that because of the cost of that. I mean, having human proctors at a distance can be sometimes even cheaper than using technology like AI, at least on the cost of those solutions that I have found. And Tec de Monterrey is an expensive university in Latin America, maybe one of the most expensive universities in Latin America. Another comment for Examen A+ will be what's the future of high stakes assessments? So we are trying to move away from those exams and high stake assessments. So I would like also to encourage you to look at other possibilities of assessment that are not exam based. No? For Didasco, I look at in your webpage, your content, it seems very interactive and very interesting. I will also ask myself what are the resources that those solutions need for massive use. In universities, maybe like Tec de Monterrey or Tec Milenio would not be a problem, but in other universities, particularly in public universities, it can be a problem. And also, how are you thinking on localizing content? Because I understand that what it's more important on your solutions is the content, and content has to be localized. And for which I think that it's clever to use mobile learning. We have been using mobile learning in the past in Tec de Monterrey with our students, particularly for math and other things. So engaging students that already are using their phone, engage on their phones, I think is very clever. If you are able to do that, I will be interested in learning more about that. And I also think that in Mexico, there's a lot of possibilities to use your platform for lifelong learning purposes also. Because I think that small chunks of knowledge delivered just in time for workers, mobile learning is very good for that. So that will be all my comments, and thanks to you 3 for your presentations.
Thank you, Pepe. We enter the last block of pitches. So my friend Anthony from Kahoot, who actually sent me to one of his courses, and I enjoyed very much the adaptive leadership course. Thank you, Anthony. Welcome.
Thanks, Fernando, and it's a pleasure to be here. And a big thank you to the team at Global Vic and to yourself, Fernando, and also the crew at Holland IQ. I really appreciate the support that we get right around. If we could move into the slide deck, that would be wonderful. So I'm the CEO, co-founder of Kahoot Learning, and we are unashamedly in love with learning for life. That is who we are. That is what we're about, and what we try and instill in the world. And looking here in terms of the vision is to really create a global culture of learning by inspiring people and organisations to grow and thrive. And this concept of culture of learning is, we've seen just how powerful that is over the last several months. Heading into the start of the year, we saw massive changes in the workforce around digitisation, and then we got a real kick in the pants of what happened earlier this year for us all. And the importance of a culture of learning in a corporate setting has never been so important. Certainly what we've got in front of us over the next 10 years as organisations, if we can instill this culture, instill this love of learning and a real passion, a desire to learn and to grow, that's actually how our organisations are going to survive and to develop and thrive. Next slide there, please. So we partner with companies, with government agencies, with professional institutions, and we do it at a quite a holistic level, as in we work with strategic relationships. We're not about transactional relationships. We actually build long-term partnerships with our clients, and we really work with them on their strategic initiatives in terms of what they're trying to do as an organisation and how education actually supports and enables those strategic initiatives. We do that through, we have a bespoke platform. I'd say we've got the world's best workforce education platform that Fernando's experienced firsthand. The models that we work with our clients where they're at. So we'll work with their L&D teams, we'll work with their SMEs, we work through the design, the build, the delivery, the reporting, credentialing and so on with our clients. So we provide pretty much a turnkey solution in that space. And we've also just recently introduced, we had a lot of our clients coming to us saying, we love the Kahoot experience, but can you guys help us with content? So we founded the Kahoot Academy, and it's really looking at core human capability, digital skills and new ways of working in terms of what's on the shelf, short, sharp pieces of learning. We're partnering with some amazing SMEs from around the world, including the team at Stanford University. 3 of the courses we've got sitting on there, negotiation, data and innovation, coming directly out of Palo Alto. So there's some pretty cool content as well as the methodology of how we go about that on the platform. And the next one, please, Fernando. So broad numbers, 1.6 million learners, 127 countries, and very proud to display our Holland IQ recognition there in terms of the top 50 Edtech in Australia and New Zealand. That just came through a week or so back, so very fresh. And the team were very excited, with enormous respect for the work that Patrick and Maria and Holland IQ team do. So getting that was actually a real buzz for us. And next up, Fernando. Great. Now this is super important. I just want to talk about that. The Kahoot model is all about building community and relationship. We do that with our clients, but we do that in our courses. And as professionals, we work best as a community where we build relationships and learn from each other. It's not just about the content. So just draw your attention to the data on the left of screen. We've got 7,455. Now this is one course we're giving you a little case study example of here. This is a course we've developed with the mining sector. It ran for 6 weeks. We had about 350 people from around the world. 7,500 discussion posts. So 133 a day. That's just from the community, and talking about what they're working through. They're working on real assignments. They're working on how they're implementing this back in their workplaces and so on. But the real key to this data for me is you go just to the top right of that and you look at 46,907. That's the views from that community around those discussion posts. 838 a day. That shows an extraordinary amount of engagement, which is just voluntary. They're dipping in and out. We can see it. It's on their phones, it's on their tablets and so on, 2-3 times a day, just keeping track of what's going on with their colleagues and the conversations and that sort of community. And what that then filters through to, and Santiago, you talked about proving the quality of learning. And this is exactly what this next piece of data is sitting here. So what we've got here is a capability structure. Here's just one particular course which we mapped out, the capabilities of the group coming into the course. we do the same going out of the course, and you can see the difference from start to finish there. Obviously, the fine print in terms of what those capabilities are, but you get the picture as to this significant shift in their actual capability from start to finish. The most amazing thing with this piece of data, this was a 10-day course, 10 days. You know, this is really extraordinary. So this talks to the results that we get because of this community and relationship-based approach in terms of how we get people absolutely excited about what they're doing and what they're learning. Next up there, please, Fernando. So this is just a quick snapshot. We've got testimonials from staff and workers across all these organisations across the world that we've got on screen. I've just highlighted 2 testimonials here. And the testimonials we get through the platform, you know, it took me about 2 minutes to find these testimonials. We get hundreds of these sorts of testimonials where people are talking about an experience in a course, forget digital, just any course that has exceeded way beyond anything they've had before in terms of their own personal experiences. So incredibly strong support there from our learning community. And if we just flick over to the next one. Thank you very much. I've done it. I've done 5 minutes. I think I didn't time myself, but I think we've made it there, Fernando. So we'd love to obviously hear from anyone and talk further about what we're excited about in terms of learning.
Thank you so much, Anthony. And we move on to Felicity. Are you there? The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Fernando, and thanks to everyone for organising. It really has been a fantastic panel of people introducing their businesses. So I'm Felicity Tomlinson from Tipsy, where the global hospitality industry comes to learn online and build their credentials. Could you go to the next slide, please, Fernando? And the next. So we really are trying to empower individuals via their businesses or directly to be able to showcase their credentials to employers and empower them to access better job opportunities. Next slide, please. So Tipsy is available on desktop and mobile with courses, lessons and mentor sessions filmed with award-winning hospitality professionals from across the globe. Learners can complete quizzes and earn certificates, so it's a really fun way to learn. Learners can self-direct their own learning, or they can be assigned training by managers or lecturers from school. So unique learning pathways can be created. There's also fantastic detailed reporting and analytics so that everything can be tracked. And videos can be watched in a language of choice with closed captions in more than 20 languages, including Portuguese and Spanish. We also have an app that can be downloaded, and the app is available in Spanish and Portuguese as well. You can also add your own custom content to Tipsy and view local and international hospitality supplier product training that has been placed on there. So it really becomes a great learning hub for the hospitality industry. And alongside the courses and lessons, there's a lot of downloadable helpful resources to also reinforce learning outcomes so that the learning can be blended to existing curriculum and existing programs, and they can be used in workshops offline as well. And all of our courses are also endorsed by the Institute of Hospitality. Thanks, Fernando. So this year alone, Tipsy members have watched more than 8 million online hospitality video lessons. And as you can see from the market map there, we do have a strong presence in many countries globally. Latin America is just an area we're just beginning to move into, but we believe it'll be a fantastic transition and a fantastic country and area to begin working with. So the hospitality courses that we have are under a range of categories, and it's really to support whole of house for hospitality. So we have expert-led lessons in business, leadership, beverage, culinary, compliance, hotel, which includes housekeeping and service. So plenty of soft skills as well as fundamental skill learning there. You can learn on the go or at your desk, and you can choose your own path or let your manager assign you with training. And just some of the top 5 most watched courses this year. We pivoted very quickly once we realised the the impact COVID was having across the hospitality industry globally. So we created some very specific COVID-19 courses, and that ended up being one of the most watched courses across the year globally. So just on how to be responsible with and service, and there's also some really practical finance restart courses there as well. So guest service fundamentals, workplace bullying and harassment, body language basics, and front of house essentials were in the top 5 most watched courses this year. Thanks, Fernando. So we provide online education to hospitality schools, to hotels, restaurants, bars, cafes, associations, governments and individuals globally. Our head office is in Melbourne, but we've been able to support the world globally from the Melbourne hub for quite some time. And we also have support in local regions where it's needed. Tipsy is both B2B and also B2C. And some key customers of ours are École Hôtelière Lausanne, one of the largest and most respected hotel schools in Switzerland. They're also an investor. Other great customers, just a handful there, include Hyatt, Radisson, CUB, Wyndham, Hotellerie Suisse, Delaware North and ITC, but we've got a lot of strong partners globally. Thank you, Fernando. Okay, so we know that in Latin America, there is a very large opportunity for the hospitality market. We know it's been a very large growth area over the last few years. It has been significantly impacted by COVID, and obviously travel and tourism is significantly affected, but we're all hoping for a significant rebound in the not too distant future. Because it really has been a significant growth area for tourism and travel globally. So there is a big market opportunity there for hospitality workers and also for education. So we know that some of the problems at the moment with hospitality education specifically is that to enable us to build skills capacity and have a continuous competitive advantage to attract the tourism dollar, more accessible options are needed. And so more people need more access to quality training, as poorly skilled workers leads to poor customer experiences. And creating quality content and platform can take a long time and be very costly. Attracting hospitality consultants and experts to come and train in person can be cost prohibitive, and right now it's just not possible. So the online experience is a fantastic one that can really break through. And we know globally that over 95% of global hospitality workforce don't have formal hospitality qualifications and want and need credentialing that's easily accessible. And we also know that, and it's been talked about from many of the others as well, that the engagement is super important. So we have bite-sized lessons so that it retains the engagement of all users. So Tipsy is an online learning solution custom built for the needs of the hospitality industry, and it's turnkey and users love it. We can also cross-skill smaller teams. We know during COVID, teams have had to downsize significantly and the specialisation in areas has generally gone, and people are needing the confidence to build skills in more areas than just their specialisation. So Tipsy's been a great, easy way to do that. Workers in Latin America then get the opportunity to be as skilled as global counterparts and increase their own career development options. And this also is super important because we know that there's many workers also from Latin America go and work in other countries. So it's a great start for them. Building skills capacity in countries and regions at scale can be done consistently on Tipsy, and we have courses to increase business revenue. Localized content can be added. We can add your own custom content, so from schools, suppliers and industry, and blended with Tipsy's existing programs plus the programs of schools, and we help with curriculum mapping as well. So Tipsy is extremely well positioned and very cost effective for companies to support the hospitality industry with online training, and it's a tool of choice. And we have the capacity and very much the desire and capability to support the hospitality industry and to be able to grow significantly. And our performance on the platform has stood up to a very large user base, particularly in the past year. So we're looking to partner with associations and governments to fund sustainable skills capacity building programs and to help grow awareness and cost-effective long-term industry partnerships. We're looking for academic connections to blend with current learning curriculum in hospitality schools and hotel partners, chains and suppliers to support online learning needs and upskilling and cross-skilling of employees. And the last one, thank you, Fernando. So please, anyone join us at Tipsy, message me anytime where the global hospitality industry comes to learn online. So we help people showcase their credentials to employers and empower them to access better job opportunities, either within their current existing group or you know, to grow beyond. So contact me anytime at felicity@tipsy.com. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Felicity. And now we open up the floor to the Latin America leaders. We'll start with my dear friend Arturo Cherbowski from Universia, and then Ricardo.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure. Thank you very much, Fernando, and thank you, everybody in Australia. Good morning to all of you there. Very interesting presentations. It's been great. Universia is part of Banco Santander. Banco Santander is one of the largest banks in the Eurozone and big transnational bank. We have a huge presence in Latin America, and we also have the peculiarity that about 90% of our corporate social responsibility budget has been directed in the last 20 years to working with institutions of higher education all over the world. So we now have partnerships with about 2,000 universities all over the world. And on the business side, we also do niche banking for universities. That positions us in a very interesting place to also help our human resources staffs all over the world to try to get the best practices in corporate education that are available. And in that sense, I see tremendous opportunity in the presentations that I just saw. Without wanting to be repetitive, I would just say, and this has been said for the other two segments, but it's very important in this segment as well, which is watch the price point. The budgets are really strained, or corporations right now all over the continent are experiencing crisis. And you know how it is when budgets tighten and when you're facing a downturn in sales and a downturn in income. One of the first budgets that goes, despite the rhetoric that talent is the key to the new world and things like that, are human resources budgets. And so human resources budgets are very strained right now. Price points are very important. I think the other thing to keep in mind in terms of corporate education opportunities in Latin America is something that you face everywhere in the world, which is human resource departments, human resource operatives dealing with the problem of talent tend to be way more conservative and way more skeptical of change than the CEOs. CEOs have adopted over the last 10 years a language in which they are now convinced that talent and upskilling and reskilling are basically, you know, what's going to win the corporate competition game and what's going to position in the last 10 years. When you move down to the head of human resources, we're going to have to make the decisions on what to hire, what not to hire, who to partner up with, who not to partner up with. They tend to be very adverse to change. They're not looking at the 10-year span. They're looking at their immediate 3-month KPIs, and solutions in order to have a chance have to actually address more the immediate needs than the rhetoric of the CEOs of large-scale transformation in the workforce in 10 years. And there tends to be a disconnect there that we have not easily solved. Having said that, I think that all the companies are looking to do some digital transformation. They are all actually looking now at creating a culture of learning, self-motivating workers so that they can all develop their path of lifelong learning, and also looking at micro-credentials in bite-sized, engageable bids. So I think in that sense, there's tremendous opportunity here. And thank you all very much. It's been very, very interesting evening.
Thank you so much, Arturo. Ricardo.
Well, congratulations for those presentations. My name is Ricardo. I start a company called Bantan. What we do is basically corporate training for the future of work in America. And we also create content for different companies. Adding what Arturo said, first of all, it's easier to start talking. Now, for me, the second part is going to be tough, how to add value. But I will say that culture of learning is really, really important, and we lack a lot of culture here in Latin America, specifically middle managers and blue collar workers. And also the HR directors, most of them, of the ones that we work with, they don't know how to ignite the culture of learning. Like, okay, I will buy a platform, I will do this service, but how can you create like a holistic learning strategy for the whole company and start by inspiring people the importance of learning? That's a crucial thing that you need to do here in Latin America. As Arturo mentioned, the other part is trust. Every time the people from HR, they are not as they don't have that much impact as a CFO, a CMO, a CTO. So every time they're hiring something or buying a new software, the reputation for them is higher than other areas of the company. So you must show them the impact that they're going to have in their business. So if in culture of learning or Tipsy, you can connect data to productivity, to customer service, to other KPIs, that's going to be easier for your sales pitch here in Latin America. And last but not least, I will say that this industry has obviously been really impacted by COVID. But if you can partner with companies like delivering platforms for the restaurants and industry like Rappi, like Uber Eats, like Globo, they are really interested in helping these companies improve. So if you need help, I can help you. If you can create some programs with these delivery platforms that are really, really big, then it's easier for the salesperson to gain some traction here in Latin America, because what we've seen is that these companies now, they don't have much budget to spend on training. They are spending their budget to stay alive in this situation. So that can be a way. Also, what you show that partnering with governments and associations, that will be really important. But and additionally, the credential part, how can you create these badges that show that going to Tipsy is something remarkable and something that people aspire to have.
Thank you so much, Ricardo. As you can figure out, we're going to probably extend a few minutes. When in Latin America, when we're having fun, the time just flies by. So I appreciate your patience. And we still have two of our major partners in this initiative. So Endeavor, and we then ask Holon IQ. So we start with Endeavor. Thank you so much.
Yeah, hi, thanks everyone. It's so great to be here with you today. My name is Sophie Kronk. I lead the education vertical at Endeavor globally, which is based in New York. Before that, I actually worked out of the Endeavor Mexico office for a few years. So this is a particularly great topic for me. And I have a few Endeavor entrepreneurs on the line. So we had Ariel and also Noel. So great to be here with you. My colleague, Diana Nunez, is also connected, and she works out of our Mexico office. So I'll tell you a bit about Endeavor. You can go to the next slide. And the next one. Perfect. So Endeavor is a mission-driven global organization leading the high-impact entrepreneurship movement, really with the belief that through job creation, innovation, and overall prosperity for different markets. You know, high impact entrepreneurs really are those that can make the change in societies. You can go to the next. So how do you define a high impact entrepreneur? It's really those entrepreneurs that have the greatest, most innovative ideas that are able to transform their industries. They have business models that are really able to scale, so really scalable and oftentimes very tech enabled. And then the founders, the founding team really have that vision, that passion, and also the ability to take their companies to the next level, as well as the desire to reinvest their knowledge and their experience and later maybe their capital and time into the next generation of entrepreneurs to really help build an entrepreneurial ecosystem in emerging markets. You can go to the next one. So to date, Endeavor was founded in 1997. To date, we've selected over 2,000 entrepreneurs that together in 2019 created over $26 billion in revenues, 4 million jobs, and raised over $3.6 billion in capital. You can go to the next. This is currently where Endeavor operates. So we were founded in Argentina and really grew up through Latin America. And so it was a very kind of Latino heavy portfolio for a while, but now we've really scaled to the other regions of the world and are present in 37 markets. You can see Australia here is the color of high interest for Endeavor. So we've done some scoping there. It's not quite in the initial launch plans, but hopefully we can launch in Australia eventually. And we do have a few entrepreneurs that are based there that I'll tell you about a little bit later. You can go to the next. So Endeavor's model is really based on this sort of 5-step model, which begins in the search phase. So we have offices in all of our 37 markets that are there scanning to, you know, talk to the local VCs, talk to the other accelerators, and look for the promises for Endeavor. So those future high impact entrepreneurs. We put them through a really difficult selection process that can last a long time, but it includes mentorship sessions and interviews with panelists locally and then also internationally. And then once an Endeavor company is selected to be an Endeavor entrepreneur, we really provide them that tailored support, both from the global office and then also their local affiliate to help them scale up their company. And then finally, so the spread section, number 4, is really where the entrepreneur begins to multiply their impact. So maybe they begin to mentor entrepreneurs in earlier stages, or maybe they begin to become an angel investor, or they form part of their board in their local market. For example, Ariel from Colegium, who is on here, is on the board of Endeavor Chile. So he really provides the entrepreneurial perspective to the board and direction of Endeavor. And then sustain, really that's when the entrepreneurial ecosystem has been able to mature, and there's multiple generations of entrepreneurs, maybe more VC funding is coming to that market, more international attention, and that type of thing. So that's kind of Endeavor's full model. You can go to the next slide. So the Endeavor value proposition to Endeavor entrepreneurs, you see the term EE, which is Endeavor Entrepreneur. The first one is global scale. So really this footprint, if any entrepreneur is scaling to a new market where Endeavor operates, they can immediately just touch base with our local office, speak to mentors there locally, speak to investors locally, and get a sense of what it'll be like to launch there. And then in addition, we do keep in touch with sort of the global VCs and the global growth equity funds that focus on investing in our markets, so we can make those introductions when it makes sense. The second is a network of true peers. So you can imagine being entrepreneurs yourself. Sometimes it feels like a lonely job. Maybe you don't have a co-founder, or maybe you can't really talk to your co-founder openly about all of your problems. And so going to this true network of peers where you can connect with someone maybe in a different industry or a different geography, but has the same challenges as you, to do this peer-to-peer exchange can be really helpful. The third is trust-based and confidential advice. So we have built out a mentor network, and I know Fernando has been an Endeavor mentor in the past and currently, as well as maybe some other people on the line. But it's really mentors that are experts in their industry, have really great advice to share back with the entrepreneurs, or maybe founders that have gone through the journey themselves and can share and help entrepreneurs see around future corners as they're scaling. And then the fourth one is an opportunity for give back. So if you're an entrepreneur that later down the line wants to have a real impact in your local ecosystem, mentor other entrepreneurs, be a part of sort of driving the formation of an entrepreneurial ecosystem, it's also a platform to give back. You can go to the next. So we also have a venture fund, which is a co-investment rules-based fund based in San Francisco. We only invest, it's called Endeavor Catalyst, and we only invest in entrepreneurs that are already raising a priced equity round. So it's not that we take equity in all of our entrepreneurs. We've only invested in about 10% of our entrepreneurs to date. But it really is to kind of put our money where our mouth is and say that we believe really truly in these change makers and entrepreneurs. So the idea here is we can take a small portion of the round, and then once there's an exit, the returns go back to the investors in the fund, so the LPs, but then they also go back into funding the operations of Endeavor for future years. You can go to the next. So this is a bit more on our investment process. These are the rules for Endeavor Catalyst investment. So it has to be an Endeavor company. The round has to be at least 5 million of primary equity, and the lead investor needs to be a qualified institutional investor that has a track record in VC funding. And then these are the 3 mentors that we have that form part of our rules committee. So they're the ones that approve the investments for Endeavor Catalyst. You can go to the next. So Endeavor Catalyst today, we have about 250 million in assets under management. We've made over 150 investments across 27 markets. And we've started to see the first exits from our first funds. We're now on fund 3. So it's exciting to kind of see those begin to fund the operations of Endeavor globally. These are a snapshot of our companies from those of you from Latam. I'm sure you recognize a few here. So Rappi was just mentioned. That's a big company that came out of our Colombia office, but now is everywhere in Latam. Clip is a huge one in Mexico, obviously, founded by Adolfo Abats. Cabify out of our Spain office. So these are kind of an example of the big companies that we support at Endeavor. We started working with them when they were in much smaller stages, earlier stages, and we were, a part of their growth journey. You can go to the next. So these are a few others I mentioned just in Latam. So Kavak out of Mexico, we're really proud to support them. They became the first unicorn out of Mexico a couple of weeks ago. So very exciting news. Mercado Libre was one of the very first entrepreneurs we ever selected out of Argentina, and they are now the highest valued company in Latam. And then Rappi, which is the unicorn, like I mentioned, with presence kind of everywhere. It's hard to even say where they're based now. Originally started in Colombia and then scaled to Mexico and then kind of went everywhere. So those are examples of like the biggest companies that we have in our portfolio. I also wanted to give you an idea of a few education companies that we have, so you have an idea about our education portfolio. It's about 50 companies across 17 markets, and it's really everything that involves revolutionizing the delivery of education. So early childhood development all the way through lifelong learning. Some of them are schools or chains of schools. Some of them are technology that can help schools or help learners or help teachers or whatever it may be. So it's kind of the wide gamut of business models and sub-industries. One example of a company we have that is based in Mexico is called Bedu, which is a skills training platform that combines online learning with live expert-led instruction. So it's a blended learning approach. And with that approach, they've been able to ensure the best learning outcomes. And so they have a high graduation rate of over 90% compared to the industry, which is between 10 and 30%. And they offer over 60 courses in tech and business and English. So they're kind of this sought after partner for corporates that are looking to reskill their workforce, which, as you all know, in your presentations we've seen is a high need right now. And Bedu is backed by some leading Edtech funds like Learn Capital and Elevar Equity. And then we also support an Edtech company based in Australia, but technically it was selected through our South Africa office because they have a few different offices around the globe. It's called Go1. I'm sure some of you have heard of it, but it aims to lower the barriers of entry to high quality professional learning. So similar kind of problem that Bedu is targeting, but different approach. You can think of it as kind of the Spotify for corporate training. So you can browse, search, find anything, any content on the library. So it'll aggregate content from providers like Skillsoft and others. And it's available either on the platform Go1, or it can integrate with an LMS or an HR system that a company may already have. And Go1 has made it to the Series C stage of funding. So they've just raised $40 million in May, and they're backed by VCs like Salesforce Ventures and M12, which is Microsoft's venture arm, and Madrona Ventures and Endeavor Catalyst also participated. So that's just kind of an overview and a few examples of Endeavor education companies. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or to Diana, who's on the call, and pleasure to be here with all of you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Sophie and Diana. It's always been a pleasure to collaborate with Endeavor, and this is part of the value that we can bring to the edtechs that are in the region. So now we go to my friend Patrick, a partner, longtime partner of Latam Alliance, and now showing the exchange between Latam and Australia. Patrick, all yours.
Thank you so much, Fernando. Look, everybody, it's so wonderful to see this exchange. I think this is such an incredible initiative. It's this peer-to-peer feedback model is so great. Such a massive fan of the Latam Alliance. So proud to be involved and support you all. To see so many Australian and Latam friends as well. Pepe, we'll see you next week. Fernando, IDB. I mean, we actually have more Latam clients than we do have Australian clients around the world as well. We're really proud. We've now got our first, we've had for about 6 months, our first person based out of Cali in Colombia. And we're recruiting an analyst to cover the market in 2021 as well. If you can just jump through a few slides, Fernando, I just want to make sure everyone's aware of the work that we've been doing to really unearth the patterns across LATAM and the Australian market. Earlier this year, we announced, again, with cooperation from Latam Alliance as well, the LATAM 100, HolonIQ's identification of the 100 most promising edtech companies across LATAM. You can see here a little bit of the segmentation across that 100, really strong representation on K-12, a good chunk of higher ed, but a really significant focus on workforce as well. We've heard lots of comments about how dominant Brazil is in this market as you see it, and how every country is so unique and special, but also trying to identify what is scalable across the region and globally too. If you just go next slide, please, Fernando. All of this is available on the HolonIQ website. These are free resources that we do. This is our way of powering the ecosystem. So this is the LATAM EdTech 100. A lot of the companies that you've heard of and seen from are here. This was a really exhaustive process, an exhausting process. And what I must say as well is there are hundreds and hundreds more magnificent companies across LATAM. It is so exciting. And although there are really significant challenges that it's important not to underestimate, and all of our LATAM contributors on this call have helped undermine and underscore those, that there's also significant opportunity. There really is, but you just need to be seriously careful about price, market entry, you know, what really are the needs and the demands. And we intend to spend a lot of time in 2021 working on that to help surface those across all of the markets across LATAM. If you go to the next slide, I think we'll see a bit of the breakup of on the Australian, the ANZ, Australian, New Zealand EdTech 50. On the left-hand side, you can see the breakup. It's actually very similar if you zoom out from a composition perspective. A small focus on pre-K, a big focus on K-12, and a heavy focus on workforce, with a significant amount of organisations focusing on higher education as well. And on the next slide, you'll actually see the 50. I really encourage, I actually maybe jump one across, and these slides will be available to everybody. Next one, please. You'll see the ANZ Edtech 50. Just like you've done today, what I would really recommend, we spend so much of our time connecting with people around the world. Sophie talked about it from an Endeavour perspective as well, is find someone on this call who you can add value to and hunt that person down and add value for them. Make that the first step. Is like, I know that person there. If I introduce them to that person there, they're going to get a lot of value. Make the first step adding value to someone else on the other side of the world in the market that you want to learn more about. And then they will return the favor and invest in those relationships. We have been investing, Fernando and I are nonstop on WhatsApp like you wouldn't believe. And it's a relationship that just means so much to us because we find out things, we learn about things, we connect with people, we exchange notes, we do the same back. I think it's just so important, and why I'm so excited about what's happened just now is just a little taste of that. There might be one more slide, Fernando. Anyway, these are all available on our website, holoniq.com. Jump in, find a company that interests you, make a connection, make it a serious investment in a relationship. The only thing I want to say on the upside is we have heard so many things about how different these markets are, about how non-homogeneous Latam is, but there are also, EdTech is seeking to make something that's truly scalable. Sure, content systems, that many of those are local and they are context driven, but there are also aspects where we can learn from each other and where we can incorporate those learnings either back into our home markets to help make our own products better, or to make these bridges and find new ways of helping each other around those. LATAM is one of our tier 1, priority 1 markets, not because we think it's going to be explosive next year, but we think over the next 10 years, absolutely over the next 20 years, LATAM will be the source of some of the world's most dynamic kind of growth and innovation as well. It's perhaps not thought of so dynamically in some other economic circles and the like, but look at the population, look at the diversity, look at the culture, look at the institutions like, Tech de Monterrey and IDB. And, these are magnificent organizations who are investing in learning more about the future of education, bringing that to LATAM. Some great opportunities for partnerships. Thank you so much, Fernando, for including us and being a part of the EdLATAM Alliance.
Thank you, Patrick. We are going to close now, and I would like to give the word to Andrea for the final words. For us in EdLATAM Alliance, this is the 3rd of our series. We're going to take a break, and we probably come back with an amazing country or region early February. We already have requests from Russia, Finland, from Japan, from Singapore. So it's going to be an interesting 2021. Thank you so much. Andrea, I'll let you close.
Wow, thank you so much, Fernando. First of all, I'm Andrea Boto Bernales, and I'm the Education Services Director for Latin America of the Government of Victoria, Australia, for those that don't know me. It's been fantastic. Thank you so much. First of all, Fernando and the EdLATAM Alliance participants, thank you very much for your contribution. Thank you to the 8 Victorian EdTech companies present today. Thank you for your participation, the assistance, and Endeavour, Hold on IQ, and IDB. It's been fantastic. This is just a sample of a larger EdTech ecosystem that Victoria has. So please feel free to reach out to us if you want to know more about this fantastic ecosystem. Victoria is recognized as a tech hub in Australia, as Pablo, my colleague, mentioned at the beginning, and we are also the education state in Australia. Our Education, Trade and Investment Office in Latin America will be more than happy to connect you with education institutions and EdTech companies. In education, which is the sector that I lead in Latin America, just a couple of points that may be of your interest that we can explore together, connecting education institutions from Victoria and Latin America and sharing best practices on education innovation. We have very interesting leaders in that aspect that we can bring to the table to Latin America. In terms of what we're going to do looking forward, we have some government programs coming up that will support edtech companies and education institutions explore some of the opportunities in Latin America. So attention to those ones. We will also be showcasing opportunities for edtech companies in Latin America in specific sectors like universities and K-12 schools, for example. We will also be showcasing some edtech panels in conferences and events in this part of the world. I will leave you here our details so that we can connect further. And thank you very much, everyone. It's been fantastic.
So just a last call. So behind the scenes is my partner in crime and founder of Latam Alliance, Juanita. Thank you so much for everything. And thank you everyone for being here. And I hope this has been a successful event. We're going to promote this in the network. Several governments are asking for this. So hopefully this is the beginning of great friendships. Thank you all and see you soon.